Alright, let's get right into this. This is Let's Play Europa Universalis 3, Heir to the Throne. I am Flying MacGuffin, and this is a continuation of our Crusader Kings Let's Play, where we play as the Breton Empire. As you can see from the map, we've got quite a bit of modding done on this. As you can see, this is our empire we will be playing as, which is another new country, Andalusia, which is kind of a successor state of ours. We set that up quite a while ago. Most of the major players are still here. They're just modified in one way or the other. One of the big changes is the Middle Eastern situation, obviously. The Knights, Byzantines, and Ottomans have all been substantially either reduced or helped out. Obviously, the Christians are the ones that were helped out. The Knights have substantial holdings in Spain, North Africa, and here, rather than just holding Malta, or I think it was Cyprus, I'm not sure. And the Papal States are actually quite powerful, holding a large section of North Africa and almost half of Middle Italy, so, yeah. Let's just get started then. Okay, let's switch this to political map mode. It looks better, easier to see. Anyway, alright, let's go over the interface a little bit. Kind of like Crusader Kings, I'll be referencing Crusader Kings quite a bit, so if you haven't seen that, just kind of pretend you know what I'm talking about, or just, you know, go with the flow. Like Crusader Kings, there's a little flag up here in the corner you can click to bring up a menu. Normally this would bring up your main, like, government interface menu. And this is kind of the same thing, only you can do different stuff here. Next to that is the name of our country. If you're controlling someone else, it wouldn't be the Breton Empire, obviously. Above this is our manpower meter, which is basically an indication of how fast you can recruit troops and how many of them you can recruit at one time. It fills up to a maximum based on how many provinces you have. Right now we have about half of our maximum manpower. There's a different limit of how many troops you can actually control at one time, and that's called your force limit, which I'll go over a little later. But this is basically your recruitment numbers, your pool of people you can recruit. This is stability. Stability is vastly more important than it was in Crusader Kings. In fact, that was just a Days Volt addition. Basically, stability affects everything in this game, rather than just influencing a couple of minor events here and there. Although, stability did have a lot of hidden modifiers in Crusader Kings. This is your money. It's the currency in this game is ducats, or ducats, or, you know, I'll probably end up calling it gold most of the time. This is your prestige. Prestige is basically your score, although it has a much higher effect on the game than Prestige did in Crusader Kings. Though, like stability, Prestige had a lot of hidden modifiers. You'll gain and lose this. You can't spend it on things like you did in Crusader Kings, but you'll have a choice of losing it for certain events, and you'll lose it for doing certain things, and you'll also gain it for certain things. Warfare, you know, completing quests, stuff like that, missions. This is your infamy. This is your bad boy, your reputation. This has a limit based on what your ruler is. As you can see, ours is 39, and if you go past that limit, people start getting the dishonorable scum casus belli on you, and our ruler right now has got a modifier of plus 14. So yeah. I'm not sure how much I'm going to push that. I'll probably end up wanting to stay around... I don't know. I'll probably want to keep it as low as possible, but I haven't really thought about what I'm going to try to push my infamy to most of the time. that basically dictates your expansion rate. It's not it's not a hard thing. It's just one of those rules I like to follow. This is your legitimacy. Your legitimacy affects a lot of stuff. It's based on how basically people view your ruler. If you got a recent heir, he'll have low legitimacy. If they got a weak claim, every heir has a certain claim to the throne. Our king is pretty old, so we might see that in a little while. Right here is your pool of people you can do things with. We got merchants, colonists, diplomats, missionaries, spies, and magistrates. Of these, the diplomats are probably the ones that you're going to be using most of the time, while merchants are just as important, but most of that is behind the scenes by using the center of trade automatic sending thing. But I'll go over that later. Up here is your clock. It's basically like, well, I guess it's more of a calendar. But you click it, and it pauses the game and unpauses the game, and you can move the speed here. The game runs much more smoothly than Crusader Kings does, so I probably won't be playing at maximum speed all of the time, although I will most of the time. Yeah. And you could press the spacebar to pause and unpause it. The thing up here is like a little mini ledger that you pull out. You right-click it, and you can choose which things to put on there. Like, you can put provinces on there, and then we got a huge list of them. So I'm not going to have that on there. There's no reason to. But I like to have everything but provinces and colonies on there. Having your armies and navies on there is very useful. You just click on them, and it brings it up. So that's very useful. Down here is our find province key. It's like the slash key. In Crusader Kings, you press it, and then you type in London, and it's like, oh, London. You mean London? And it takes us over here. So yeah, if you have an event, there's like, where the hell is that province? You just type it in there. Below this, conveniently enough, is our go to capital province. You click on that, it goes to Alexandria, our capital. Below this is a national focus button. This is like a second capital. The national focus has various modifiers on the provinces around it, but it also means you can click on it and go to it. This is very useful when you have two sections of your empire that are pretty far apart. And as you can see here on the province tile, which I'll go over in a minute, you can click here to make the province your national focus, and it has a bunch of stuff on it. I'm going to click this. So that we can go blam, blam, and just go from different ones. Very useful. Below this is our history. Yep. Nothing much going on there. It basically shows everything that you've ever done, based on who's ruling at the time. Below this is the papacy button. We are the papal controller, because we were in Crusader Kings at the end. And you can see the various people things. This is how much papal influence you have. It's based on relations, your sliders, and yeah, different stuff. This is the chance you have. You'll get a cardinal. It's based on different things. These are the different people who have different percentages. You can't see the cardinals, but later there will be cardinals here. Once we start the game, they'll spawn the cardinals, and then who the cardinals are following. This all affects who becomes the papal controller, and that sort of thing. Below that is the Holy Roman Empire button, which we will not be involved in because we are not German, or in this case Danish, because at the end of the Crusader Kings game, Denmark was the king of Germany, so I decided to add them to the Holy Roman Empire. It made sense, so I did it. Yeah, that's the main major addition to the Holy Roman Empire. They're all voting for Sweden now because stuff hasn't kicked in. Below this is our menu. Nothing special here, just fancy unicorns. Below this is the ledger. Probably of the menus like this is probably the most valuable one. You can either go to the quick menus up here, which are the different stuff. or you can click through them. There's like 30 pages of this, so it's all pretty useful. Probably the one you'll see me using the most is this one, the Center of Trade menu, which I'll go over when we start going over our advisor, not our advisors, but these people up here. Below that are the zoom in and out buttons. I usually use the keyboard shortcuts, so, or the scroll mouse. So, scroll wheel. So you won't see me using those very much. I might though. And next to this is our mini-map. The mini-map is much more useful and much more clear than it was in Crusader Kings. Well, first of all, you have your terrain map mode and your political map mode. For your filters, political map mode and terrain map mode are pretty much identical. The rest of the filters are actually much more useful than they are in Crusader Kings. Here you have your religious map mode, and yellow is Catholic, obviously. Well, obviously if you know that I'm Catholic. We are Crusaders after all, and the Reformation hasn't happened. So, yeah. Green is Islam, and brown is Orthodox. Yeah. There's also a few other religions, but I haven't met them yet. These are pagans, I think. What they're doing there, I don't know. Probably the Mongols or something. And this is Wasteland. They don't have a religion. They worship sand or something. There's nobody living there, so it doesn't matter. Like maybe some crazy Bedouins. Not that Bedouins don't have religion or anything, but just they have to be crazy to live there, so they don't count. Anyway, as you can see, there's kind of these hash things. This means that I control the province, and I'm Catholic, but the province itself is Muslim. And the same thing here you can see with the Byzantines controlling Muslim provinces. So that's pretty useful to see which of your provinces have a different religion. I think I have two, this and this. Imperial map mode is not very useful for us because it's a map of the Holy Roman Empire. As you can see, Austria is the emperor, so they have this very bright green. The electors are in this lighter green, and then the dark green is the members of the Holy Roman Empire. Oddly enough, Holstein's not part of it, but I guess they'll have to shape up or ship out. Neither is Mantua or Venice, so, or Sicily, because Venice is held by Sicily. So yeah, that would be a lot more useful if we were a German state, but we aren't. The trade map mode shows the various centers of trade and what resources the provinces are holding, and which provinces are going to which center of trade. Now, Thrace is not a center of trade in our world because it changed hands so many times, I guess. So everything the Byzantines normally sent through Thrace are going to be going through Alexandria, our center of trade. And over here you can see things that are going through Venice, things that are going through Urbina, or friggin' Liguria, excuse me, Antwerpen, Lubeck, Ile-de-France. We'll mostly be focusing on Antwerpen and Alexandria because we control them. That's where our lands we control go through. So, and Venice is pretty close by, so I might mess with that too. What's next? Diplomatic map mode. Now this is really much showing what cores we have. We got cores on this, and cores are like claims from Crusader Kings. After 50 years, you get a core on a province, or you can get them from events or things like that. We start with a core on this province, Dair Azor, and actually Normandy. I should have just clicked the national focus, but we actually have a core on Normandy because we held this province at the end of the game. But it also shows our allies, and the various other modifiers we'll have, war, things like that. But we are allied with the Byzantine Empire, so they have this light green color. So yeah. Region map mode. This shows what region you're in. It's not actually that useful, but I guess it could be if you really cared all that much. Yeah. The culture map mode basically shows what the dominant region culture is. This is Spanish culture. The Berbers, I think these are Arabs that I chased out. Arab here. Yellow is Celtic, and the Bretons are Celtic. So this color actually is it's different. It looks different when you can actually see it. But we are Celtic, so we have this, and it looks the same as the yellow, which is French, but it's not the same. Blue is, or just orange, not orange. Orange is the opposite. It's like cyan color is English. Blue is Scandinavian, and they actually held a couple of things in Scotland. Red is German. Pink is West Slavic, so like Polish, Czech, things like that. Hungarian. The East Slavic are these lighter blue, the Russians and the Serbians and stuff like that. Greeks are this purple color. Armenians, they're the Byzantines. Persians are this kind of greenish color. I forgot what they're technically called. Uralic peoples, or Altaic, I don't know. Finno-Ugric are part of the Finland group, but we can't see many of them. This is actually quite useful, because you can basically see which of your provinces have a revolt risk from that, and when they change hands and stuff like that. Which provinces you get. If we were to be conquering around Europe, the places we could conquer without a tax penalty, or as big of a tax penalty, would be the Celtic areas, which is basically these up here. I'm not sure if there are any. Poitou is Breton. We actually have a province that's French. So this is the only province outside of our empire that is actually Breton. But we wouldn't get a penalty for conquering that. Or we would get a penalty, but just not a tax penalty for that. We could also conquer Ireland and Wales and Scotland. Anyway, but we have problems to worry about within our own empire about culture, so not a big deal. If you notice here, Carthage here, which I renamed the province, I'll explain later, is actually Breton, but it is Islamic. So, next is the Sphere of Influence button, and I'm not really probably going to use much of this. If you click on a province, you can go in here and then expand influence, and basically you're basically declaring them to be under your kind of purview, and you basically say, hey, if you mess with them, I'll declare war on you. It's like a declaration, only you can declare war on them by pretty much doing anything. Like, if they have any kind of diplomatic things, we can declare war on them for messing around with them. It's pretty dangerous. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it all that much. As you can see, the Byzantines are already in there because I have an alliance with them. The revolt map mode is probably the most useful of these filters, aside from political and trade, because once you start getting revolt modifiers, which you'll get throughout the game, they'll show up on here as various shades of red on the green. It's very important to monitor that, because you really need to know where those provinces are so that you can station troops there, or make sure you keep your eye on it. Next is colonial map mode. We don't really have anything to use for this right now, but once we start opening up parts of Africa, we can start colonizing it. We can actually colonize over land. Pretty much the only people who could do that normally in the game. I think like one of the provinces here, and like some of the ones in northern Scandinavia, can be colonized that way, and Russia. So yeah, there's that. We'll be getting into that later when we start colonizing. There's some provinces here that open up for colonization later. And that's pretty much it for the mini-map. The mini-map is much more useful since we got a large area. Spoilers, America's over here. And we actually have line of sight to India because of this. So, yeah. Actually, I think it's because of this. The conversion just made us have line of sight to India. Maybe it just took the line of sight the Mamluks normally have and gave it to me, which makes sense. Let's switch back to political map mode. Let's go over the map a little bit. I've made a few changes based on suggestions from subscribers and stuff. I've changed the name of a few of the provinces and the capitals of the provinces, not all of them, like this one. And I've named them after founders of our empire and people that were both saint and emperor.